This metal shaving came out of the oil pan from this LS7 engine on my Corvette Z06, a car I bought as a gamble marked as is at a wholesale auction. And when you find something like this on a car like this, that's running like this, there's a good chance of your wallet ending up like this. Now when I first got the car, it was dead, but it only took a refresh of the battery to get it going, which lasted for a few short trips up and down the driveway before it died again. Beneath several inches of grease in our engine bay, we found that a connector to the cam position sensor had popped out, causing the car not to run. But once we popped it back in, it fired right up. Now this problem was seemingly caused by sloppy work, a lot of sloppy work, and I ended up contributing to this when I tried replacing the sensor. Since it was saturated in oil and is a cheap part, I figured it would be easy enough and a good idea to just swap out, and I couldn't have been more wrong. When I went to pull it out, the plastic end split off, and what was left of it was lodged in the front timing cover. The plastic was swollen, and I couldn't get it to come out. It took hours of pulling, twisting, and drilling, and finally, when I thought I got it out, I found that a piece of it was still behind the cover. This piece then fell further into the engine's abyss. Now at this point, I didn't think the piece of plastic was a huge problem, but I did figure it would be too risky to run the car without removing it first. The right way to do this would be pull the front timing cover, which requires a lot of disassembly, including pulling the water pump, power steering bracket, ABS block, and moving the steering rack. It's a pretty big job in a small engine bay, but before I went through the trouble, I figured it might be worth our time to just drop the oil and pray it comes out of our pan. Of course it didn't, but we did get something else, something arguably worse. It was the strange metal shard. When you find something like this, you can be quick to think that things are game over. Well, a lot of you guys in the comments figured that I had just pulled a chunk of bearing material out of my oil. But to confirm that it was a piece of bearing material, you have to understand really how a bearing works. It's kind of like being married but having a girlfriend. Hear me out. You know, I'm the crankshaft. I'm responsible for doing all the work all the time. The connecting rod is my wife. She's with me at all times. She never leaves. But the bearing, well, that's your girlfriend. She's in between the two of us. And what we really need to keep between the bearing and the connecting rod is a lot of oil. Without that, well, things can turn bad. If you run low on oil or just don't maintain your oil, you're going to have a lot of friction. If your wife and your girlfriend or that connecting rod and bearing ever meet, well, the bearing's the first to go. Let me tell you, you're going to have a lot of metal shavings, and then I'm the one who ends up getting scarred. Connecting rod usually ends up with the better part of the deal. Anyway, this is to say, if we had a bearing failure, there should be a lot of metal shavings in our oil. And not only did I get 8 quarts of oil out of our sump pan, it looked like good used motor oil. It's exactly what you want to see. The few times I've dealt with a bearing failure, you'll see what looks like someone taking a whole bag of glitter and dumping it in your oil. It's very apparent, and it just wasn't apparent here. So being that this was a very questionable situation, I reached out to a good friend of mine that has probably taken apart half of the LS engines in the universe. His name is Jared Pink. His YouTube channel is The Questionable Garage, and he was quite a bit more optimistic than we were.
Hey Sam, you sure do get some cream puffs from the auction, but looking at the pictures you sent me, we can figure out what we know that part isn't. Now, some of the commenters had a really good idea about it being a thrust washer, but on the LS, the thrust washer is captive in a main bearing, so we know it can't be that. Also, you said the oil looked really good. Now, that's not to say someone didn't just do a quick oil change to hide all the metal shavings, but it wasn't brand new oil, so most likely we don't have bearing failure. So I know you really don't necessarily want to, but you need to pull that timing cover. I know you work so hard to get that cam sensor out, but there's something going on behind that timing cover. You've got to get that taken off. We'll figure it out once you get there and see what everything looks like there. Plus the crank pulley's loose. It may have broke something back there.
There's no escaping it at this point. That timing cover's coming off, and with it, hopefully, we can find out exactly what went wrong here. Now, you heard Jared mention that we found a loose crank pulley in the front, and that's because we were spinning this engine over by hand to make sure that no plastic was binding up with the timing chain. After we had our cam sensor problem, and when I hooked up my wrench to the crank pulley bolt, it just spun and tightened, which is crazy because your crank pulley bolt, especially in a car making as much power as this one, should never ever be that loose. We do know that it was taken off at one time since the car was extensively modified, But it gives us one more reason as to why we should have just started tearing this thing apart in the first place. And there's one last quick thing I wanted to address, and that was one of the themes from the comments section in the last video, and that was that with the amount of grime in this engine bay and missing fasteners and just sloppy work, a lot of you were convinced that this probably isn't the original motor that came out of this car, especially because the car reads only 17,000 miles on the odometer. I am pretty confident that the miles on the car and the engine itself are true based on the car vertical report that we pulled. First and foremost, the report had the historical auction photos from a while back that showed the car's accident damage. It's one of the reasons the car was so cheap. I personally liked that the damage was contained just to one corner of the car. And when we inspected it, the damage corresponded exactly to what we found, which was a repainted bumper, some repaired factory wires, and a wee little bend in the corner of the front reinforcement. But besides this, there was no substantial structural damage in my opinion. Now, when you're taking a gamble on these salvage cars, especially a prior rebuild like the Corvette here, I like to see that they actually get driven after being repaired. In the case of the Corvette, it went from around 13,000 miles in 2018 to over 17,000 miles now. And while the engine bay was a complete mess when we got it, strangely enough, its undercarriage photos at the auction show it was pretty clean when they first listed it. Between now and then, a single clamp failed, and every time this car ran, the power steering system was constantly spraying fluid right in the upper center area of the engine bay, where it dripped down, causing the huge mess that we ended up with. Now, another huge reason I run a car vertical report before I bid on or buy a car is this historical timeline that shows almost every move a car makes, whether it was sold at an auction, registered by a new owner, or had an accident. It tracks its every move, so you know exactly what you're getting. Millions of used cars get moved through these auctions each year, and if it's a public one, Car Vertical will likely have the photos showing you the exact condition it was in before a seller refurbishes it. This newer Z06 looks really good all around, but it had a really nasty rear-end accident, and fixing these cars can be pretty tricky as they use a lot of aluminum and magnesium chassis components with a lot of fiberglass glued to them. Here it looks like a selling dealer bought it and slapped a bumper over it where it was damaged, but anyone with this report would know exactly where to inspect the car, would also know that it bounced between a few different dealers and then back to the auction over a long span of time. These historical photos are so important and downright powerful when it comes to making your decision before buying any used car. You know, they say a picture is worth 1,000 words, but in my experience, some of these pictures have saved me thousands of dollars in headaches and repair costs simply because I got a car vertical report. Make sure you do too at the link in the description box below and use code SAM20 at checkout to get 20% off your very own car vertical history check. Yeah, there. Could you imagine we had to take this off anyway? Could have just removed this in 2 seconds, and there's all the plastic down there. But that's not what we're worried about right now. We need to get a closer look at what's going on here and see if there's any metal breaking off. And also, is there any other plastic that had fallen in here? Is that the only?
There's actually, I can see plastic right here. Right there. Look, see it?
Yeah. Oh. Look at it. It's literally like resting near the darn timing chain. Oh my goodness. Look at this. Now, I had envisioned this as a thin, flimsy piece of plastic. This is a hard shell. This is the outer casing of that cam sensor. And look at how hard it is. This would have definitely bound up against the timing chain. There's a monumental chance we would have caused some catastrophic damage to this motor. So, what a mess. It's a good thing we took this apart. We should have just done it way sooner. This is definitely one of those learn from your mistakes sort of lessons. It could have been much, much worse. And if we would have just taken the timing cover off in the first go around, we could have just popped it right from the back end out and it would have not been as messy as it is. I'm finding just shards of plastic literally everywhere. They're on the edge of the oil pan. But since we have this all apart, we're going to go and we're going to replace all these seals, all these gaskets. We're going to clean everything really nice. So we'll end up better than we were. But let me show you this because we found one more piece of evidence on the back of the timing cover here, lodged in the front crank seal. You could see another shard of metal, which is almost identical in shape to the piece that we originally found in our drain pan. Now, just taking a look at the crank snout and the sprocket that sits on the crank, that's what spins the oil pump here, there's nothing obvious. But in order to see all of the insides of the oil pump gears and at least, the outer rings and all of the surface of this sprocket here, we're gonna need to take the oil pump off the car. And while we've got it off the car, it'll be a great time to just inspect everything. Now this might be overkill. I might be making a big deal about this one bolt being loose, but you gotta think about how important this bolt is. And this is a huge bolt. It's a one-time use bolt, and it's quite possibly one of the most important bolts on your car. This keeps that pulley or harmonic balancer mounted on your crankshaft. And everything that's behind it, including that oil pump and sprocket and everything, is fastened in tight by having this torque to something like 240 foot-pounds. With it sandwiched together, there's going to be no play between all of these parts connected. But the second this is just slightly loose and this engine is spinning upwards of 7,000 RPM, all that vibration is going to cause metal on metal stuff to be banging against each other and, well, could lead to exactly what we're experiencing here. Now again, that's a worst case scenario, and there's one other thought that I have, and that's that someone's already been in here. We know that because we know the car's cammed, and we've seen a lot of sloppy work in the engine bay. And while someone was in here, maybe they just left some junk, and it collected here in the front of the engine. But we really won't know until we investigate further. And let's just slip this oil pump out of place. On the dry sump cars, it's really easy. There's just 4 bolts that hold it in, and it should just slide right out. What's cool about the oil pump on these cars with the dry sump is that they just slide right out of place. Apparently on most other LS-based engines, you have to hang the oil pan to angle out a pickup tube. If you look here, you can see we did loosen the oil pan because we weren't sure about this at first. Either way, there's a good amount of clearance here, and we should be able to swap in a new pan gasket when we put this all back together. But with the pump off, we can get a good look at the crankshaft sprocket, and it also looks pretty decent. There's no obvious scratches or pieces of material missing on it. It also just feels smooth all over. There's no rough spots. Now looking at the center of the oil pump, you can see there's 2 gears that spin on the crankshaft, and they also look pretty good. So there's nothing obviously wrong with everything on the outside, but the casing does come apart here with just a few screws, so let's pull it apart and look inside. The inside of the casing here has some pretty decent deep grooving. I can easily catch my fingernail in here. You could feel this. And I don't know if this is normal wear. I imagine that this wouldn't affect the function of the oil pump, but the fact that we've got this deep of scratching on the casing leads me to believe that we did have some sort of issue, whether it had been with that loose crank bolt or if this car just wasn't getting adequate oil at one time. Now this part of the housing separates from the bottom part, and we should be able to shake the actual gear itself out. So here's the gear itself, and you can see the teeth on the inside of the gear. Again, they all look really great, really nice. And the sprocket that sits over the crankshaft fits in with these teeth, and as the crankshaft spins, it moves this oil pump gear all around, and that's what moves the oil and creates oil pressure in your engine. Now again, on the surface of this thing, there's lots of little scratches. These ones are a lot less deep than what we saw in the casing. I can catch my fingernail in some of them, and I want to hear from you guys in the comments whether this is just normal wear on an oil pump gear or whether we're looking at something that's been abused or misused and why we have so many scratches everywhere. The second gear is a bit thinner than the first one, but it's in really similar shape. And then if we look at the casing inside, the back part of this casing actually looks all really good. I don't see anything that would make it seem like it was damaged, and I can't even feel this with my fingernails. So that all looks to be pretty superficial. So if our worst case scenario is that we need a replacement oil pump for this thing, we're in a decent spot. And I say decent because that specific oil pump is on national back order with General Motors. You can't buy a new one. And while used ones do come up from time to time, most parts breakers that buy these cars and sell the parts off of them aren't breaking down their engines. They're selling the engine as an entire assembly. So it is a difficult part to replace, and it's only for the Z06 and the manual transmission Grand Sports from the C6 era. So this is where I ask you guys one more time, let me know your thoughts about the condition of our current oil pump. Is it something that is in reusable condition, or do we want to wait around for a good used one to come around on the market? Your oil pump is something you don't want to skimp on or mess around with. It is vital to the life of a $15,000 LS7 engine. Anyway, there's a few other things in the timing area that we could upgrade while we've got this all open, and I'm feeling more and more confident about buying some nicer parts, building this thing very moderately, spending, $200, $300, $400, getting it mechanically solid and having a great driver on our hands. But there's one last thing I really want to do to confirm that we don't have any sort of bottom end damage. We don't have any sort of funny business going on. It's real simple. We just want to pull our oil filter and open it up, because the oil filter would most definitely catch any metal chunks, shavings, or glitter that we wouldn't have seen with our eyes at this point. This is perfect. This is exactly what we want to see here. There's nothing. There's this little fragment of something up here. This looks like it's just a piece of where I cut a strip of the oil filter when I was opening it. But otherwise, in the pleats here, if there was a problem, again, we'd see glitter, we'd see something shiny. These things collect all the particles in your engine, and there's nothing but dirty oil. This is the oil filter of a car with a very healthy engine. Over the last few days, my confidence level in this car went from 0 to 100. At first, I thought it was going to be just a parts car special. Now, I think it could truly be reborn and be an amazing driver with not a lot of money spent. But we never found the smoking gun or the source of those metal flakes. And I still spent a lot of time thinking about it, chatting with Jared about it. And, well, I took the two metal pieces we found, the one that I found from the oil pan, the one that I found from the timing cover, and I pieced them together, and they fit almost perfectly together, like a puzzle. And I sent that picture to Jared. He immediately responded, "I'm an idiot. Look up this part number. I'm surprised I didn't see it earlier."
Oh man, Sam, it's a good idea you pulled that front cover. I can tell you with 99.973% certainty, that is your friction washer. Now, not every single LS got one, not even every LS7. Sometimes it's just a metal shim, and sometimes it is that big metal washer with a piece of rubber on it. And if you have the rubber one, it's one-time use, and considering someone just had all of that apart, they reused it, it didn't maintain the torque like it was supposed to, failed catastrophically, and made your crank pulley go loose. It's all of your problems solved in one, except your oil pump got damaged in the process. Good luck. Back ordered, maybe discontinued, incredibly expensive, LS7 only.
So I want to give a huge thanks to my good friend Jared. Make sure you're following him over at The Questionable Garage. I'm going to drop a link down in the description box. He has an amazing channel where he does a lot of thorough diagnosis and some pretty sweet builds, like a Ferrari pickup truck. So again, hit that link down there. We finally can put our minds at rest that we have a mechanically decent, we'll just stick with mechanically decent, Z06 Corvette for the price of a really well-used C6, and I couldn't be more thrilled about that. If you guys feel the same, make sure you hit that like button. Also, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. That way, when we release the next video on the Z06, you see it up and running. That is my goal. I've got a couple parts on order. I'm on the hunt for a replacement oil pump, and well, I just want to thank each and every one of you for coming along on this ride. I'll catch you very soon.